Welcome to Real Money Talks. Real strategies from the moneymakers and the world changers that you can use to make millions, keep those millions, multiply your wealth, and build your team. Here's your host, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View, Loral Langmeyer.
So your car and computer, deductions, right? So now you're doing deductions. Guess what? If you don't have any kids, you should get them. Your kids are deductible. I mean, when I say like how we live, most people have no idea. And then debt, we use debt. We use debt to our advantage. We actually go borrow other people's money. You've heard of OPM, other people's money. We also use other people's IRA, right? Because most people don't know how to use them. So we'll use them. And we actually use the money, pay it on debt, and then we make money on the money. Credit cards, we use them very strategically. It helps increase your credit score, increases credit. Believe it or not, you got to have money in the system. And then we don't retire, we create freedom. And then you get to choose the number. So one of the commitments is, what is your Freedom Day number, right? Is it $20,000 a month? Is it $100,000 a month? Is it $500,000 a month? What's your number? You all can pick a number, and that's one of the commitments we're going to have you make. So as you can see, what you're taught and how rich people live have absolutely nothing to do with each other. So I shouldn't say the battle, but the work we do over and over and over is to continue to move you from the left side to the right side because we want you to live the right life. Isn't that fun? And we're going to integrate this for you. So I don't know how to go get all that. I know, but we do. I've spent over 20 years, my 22nd year in this financial education space. And I don't just educate. I think a lot of you that have been around, if you're new to us, welcome. But I've been Shark Tanking since before Shark Tank ever became a show. But now that everybody knows what it is, people say, what do you do? And I said, I'm like a shark. So I buy and sell companies. We're buying and selling cannabis licenses. We're buying and selling all sorts of stuff. You name it, we broker things. So it's cool. You can choose the life you want. So if you're not getting it financially organized, then, you could say a W-2. So I'll give you one example. They're my favorite couple examples. And they actually moved here right next to us in Reno from Oklahoma. And they've become very, very dear friends. In fact, I'm the executive of their trust. I don't know if they're out there watching us tonight for their daughter that they just had. So they're Air Force, they're military, high paid W-2, right? He's also United captain. So it makes a ton of money. So when we met, they had some real estate, but it wasn't structured right. So put the real estate in the LLCs and put them in trusts, and then had a management company for the real estate, which then became an S or a C. I'm not sure exactly of the structure. But they love wine. In fact, next week, they're going to take a whole group of people to Oregon wine tasting in some valley, and they'll be paid $1,000 for a trip. And they asked me to go, and I said, I got this sales office here in Carson and this whole team and integrated wealth I'm relaunching. So let me relaunch my team, and then I'll go wine tasting. But now they have an LLC, and they can write off all their wine. In fact, they just built a wine cellar in their home, and their home is the office. So now that all gets to be deductible. All the wine they drink gets to be deductible. All the wine stuff they buy, glasses, corks, openers, travel, wine kits, luggage, all that stuff's deductible now. See, so a lot of you have hobbies. You have things that could be businesses, but you don't run like a business. And then you don't get the deductions. So this is what we do that's different. I'm not going to go into all of that. We teach a class called Off Wall Street. And now that we also have here, we're forming a studio for me. So I'm actually going to be live going to Whiteboard once a week. Every Monday, we're going to start doing Money Makeover Monday. So you get to apply for it. Our team will set you up for it. And I will do probably 2 or 3 every Monday. And it'll be live to screen. And if that's interesting to you, again, we're going to be doing a commitment call, and you can talk to your strategist and say, hey, strategist, by the way, there are only 2 strategists, actually 3 now, 1 came back, that are part of the old team. So, when I say we're new, we are in an overhaul. We have really revamped and up-leveled the way that we're going to work with you to get you the best results of your life. So we're super excited about it. We do a workshop. Again, if you go to integratedwealthsystems.com to our event tab, you'll see our schedule. In a few weeks, we'll be in San Diego. We're going to Salt Lake, Phoenix, Vegas, and we're starting a new workshop. All right, it's a BCC workshop. It'll be an evening panel with all day just about blockchain, crypto, and cannabis. And we're bringing just the world leaders from around the world. That show will only be in Vegas. It starts in February, and many times a year, you will see just that workshop. And I'm sure we're going to give it some fun, sexy name, integrated BCC or something, because you need a little bit of all of that. So super excited.
Very good.
So let's head back to our other wheel. Grab some questions.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's take a few questions, guys. Post some stuff in the chat. Everybody knows where that is. You also got the Q&A section. You could put something in, but post a question in there. Let's break this up a little bit. See what you guys have so far. We have one. Laurel, do you know of any loan or grant opportunities for veterans?
Tons. Oh my gosh. So that's another whole initiative. So again, some of the stuff we've been talking about, and again, last year, I shouldn't say we just slowed down, but we really found teams of people who are really going to commit to some of the initiatives. So vets around the world, I mean, in the United States, sorry, they're not around the world. They probably live around the world, but if they've been a veteran, they have access to loans and grants, and done right, they can each individually get up to $250,000. So the problem is a lot of them don't know how to be entrepreneurs. They don't know how to buy real estate. They don't know how to buy cannabis or even a digital currency. They don't know how to run a franchise. So our goal this year is to work very closely with the veterans. In fact, we have a group of 3 of them that have come together. I don't know if they're on the call, but in our event in Palm Springs, 3 of our table members that are vets are coming together, and we have the complete links and access to help you get with the right business plan, which we're putting together for them. They will be able to buy a greenhouse, because greenhouses aren't cannabis, it's real estate. 3 vets can come together, get $650,000 to $750,000, and with that money, give it to us essentially, and we'll help buy the greenhouse. We'll put our license inside, we'll grow our marijuana, and then we'll be their tenant. So they will charge us a lease fee, a rent fee for using their houses. So that project's in motion. Several other projects are in motion. So yes, we absolutely know how to help with vets. So, but you do have to be in the big table for that one. That's very sophisticated. And when I say sophisticated, I'm not talking about having to be smart. It's just a lot of moves you got to learn how to make, and you got to learn how to do the right business planning, and you got to learn financial modeling. And we have the people put together and the teams now that can actually get that done versus talk about it. So that's been a huge commitment of ours. We're super excited about having that launch. One of the things that we did see, and I just saw it kind of run up the screen, is in Jacksonville. We moved Jacksonville. It wasn't a big market. Some of the East Coast stages that were going to fill that either got canceled, not by us, but by the promoter, or in 3 situations, they were going to put 150, 200 people in front of me, and I spoke to 20, and then I spoke to 30, and then I spoke to 40. So my son is back in Jacksonville, went home on Sunday, and we will put on an event. I've been asked to speak at the college, at the university level, on the business of cannabis. So we will probably put one of our BCCs, I'm calling it, blockchain, crypto, and cannabis in Jacksonville, because that will be for people to come for the content. So we will be there, but it won't be the off Wall Street event. We pulled that out of there, and there you go. So we won't be there for that show, but we will be back, because it gives me a business trip reason to go see my son. So let's go back to the wheel. And while we go to the wheel, is there any other questions?
Yeah, I want to take one really quick. This is because I know you've got a large Canadian following. A lot of people are asking, how's this applicable to Canadians?
Because everywhere in the world, this is the same principle. So I apologize because I've become a little Americanized teaching. I used to be a little better when I was traveling all over the world every year. Because I married a Canadian in February, it'll be our 3rd year anniversary. We just started going back and forth there versus going all over the world. We are going to Australia this year. We'll make that announcement probably in April. So we'll let you know those dates as they come available. And I've been invited heavily to speak in the UK. So we will go back there. Those are the 2 countries. We're talking about Africa, but I got a lot of assets I need to manage and get running here in the United States. So that might be the next year. But everywhere in the world, this principle is the same. So not only in 1933 did the United States, but it led. The UK had already been leading with corporations in the way that they're structured with the king and the queen and all of that stuff. So, and then most of Canada and Australia actually originally were under the Queen's rule. So that's hence socialized nations. But they still have corporations, they have limited proprietaries, they have partnerships, they have trusts, they have holding companies. So they just call them something else. But in principle and law, it is all treated the same. So instead of using S Corp, C Corp, LLCs, limited partnerships, you just give those a different word, right? But if you're employed, you're employed, right? So in principle, this is a worldwide phenomenon. This is not just a US-based thing. And as a lot of our clients around the world become wealthy, we help them set up companies in other parts of the world, specifically here in Nevada. They use our address. And by the way, the Nevada works space address and using our address and using our lease and, working with us here in Nevada is still available to all of you. You can actually, we'll be your address. We'll set up your Nevada company. And as an international, resident, you can fund into a United States C Corp or LLC, depending on the tax team and depending on the company or country. And then you can fund it. And then what those clients do is they only buy United States assets for a 3 to 5 to 7 year period. They don't bring them back to their country on a regular basis. They grow it all here in the United States. So we know how to do all of that stuff. We have all those teams set up. It's what I've done for years. So again, if you look at the wheel, this is what we do. This is the best integrated slide that we put together. So what happens when you're not integrated, all right, I won't roll that up, is you're in the middle by yourself, and then you try to go out and talk to that tax strategy person, and then you go talk to an entity person, and then you go talk to a wills and trust person, then you go talk to a franchise person, and then you talk to a real estate person, and then you're hoping that somehow these are all going to come together and get glued together, but you don't know a damn thing about them. So most of you have a I hope to God this is going to work plan, not a I know it's going to work plan. So our goal in helping you integrate your team is to just use the team I found, and it's taken 20 years to perfect. We know taxes, and we do the best taxes in the world, and we do worldwide taxes. Our teams, I have lawyers around the world. We have insurance folks. By the way, insurance is a massive, massive wealth building vehicle. We have franchise folks. We have gas and oil folks. We have cannabis folks. Now we've just brought in a great crypto team. So we're here teaching you this. And yes, some of you I see are saying, yeah, I've seen this in some of your other presentations. So some of you have seen it. My question to you is, when are you going to live it? Right? So that slide I just did, you may know about it, you aren't living it. And then you have to live it 100%. And to be a millionaire in 3 to 5 years, you have to let us help guide and sequence your plan. So with that, we will continue these conversations, but I want to jump back over to our success and our goal setting, our commitment setting. And again, we're going to invite you to have a 2019 commitment session, one-on-one privately with one of our strategists. So we've been training them today, getting them ready for you today. And I have 3 techniques I'm going to teach you. So first of all, again, there's 8 areas of your life that I want you to focus on. So some of this is going to be homework. You're going to need to take it home and work through this. So the 8 areas, again, are money, right? They're personal development and career, which is just you developing yourself. Like for me, my number one goal in personal development is the BCC. It's a blockchain. It's crypto. I want my own coin. And the gentleman I'm going to introduce you to very soon are going to help us create that. We want a coin for our marijuana space so we can actually transact at the dispensary level a currency that's acceptable across the state, not federal, the state. So I have a lot of personal development that I continue to do, right? So don't think you know it all. So money's critical. Your personal development's critical. Your health is critical. Spirituality, family, your fun and friends, your physical environment, and I'm missing one more in there. Oh, your physical environment. And that's just critical. We're going to make this new office here everybody knows it already when they walk in. It's just it just feels great. And we're going to change so many lives in this facility. And by the way, those of you in the big table, this will become a new visiting spot, is to come to this office and show you what a sales floor looks like and show you how money gets made. We'll have a CBD call center here, and we're going to have a wealth building call center here. So 2 things are underway as we speak. Now, when you look at those 8 areas, pick only a few that you're going to heavily focus on, big focus, which means you're going to give it some of your energy and time. And then what I want you to do to evaluate what you need to do, and this is one of my favorite things I love in techniques for success, is evaluate. What do you need to start doing that you aren't doing already that's going to get you where you need to go? What do you need to stop doing? And I'm going to just give you some stop activities. So some of you need to stop hanging out with people that are just not about this conversation. They're total drags. They don't support you. Some of you need to stop complaining about the same damn thing you've been complaining about forever. Stop telling stories about 20 years ago. Stop spending money the way you're spending without learning about money. So I know some of you have a lot of stops to do. And you say, well, that's really hard. Well, then that's where masterminding and coaching is going to help you. And then to everyone's credit, you're at some level amazingly successful. So continue doing some cool shit, right? Some of you know that you do really good things, but this is an assessment. So what you want to do is you want to look at all these 8 areas of your life. And then you want to do a start, stop, and continue with each area. What do you need to start, stop, and continue with money? What do you need to start, stop, and continue with your health? What do you need to start, stop, and continue with your personal development? What do you need to start, stop, and continue? Like last year was a massive physical environment change. Like literally, if you said I would be, living straight off the mountain and doing what I'm doing and living around a ranch and changing my daughter's school and literally changing it all to up level it to a different place, I would have told you were crazy. But I put a lot of start, continued focus on that and stopped doing some other things. So I think a lot of you got to take this very seriously. It's not an activity you're going to finish on like tonight's call, but maybe this weekend, dedicate several hours to looking at all those 8 areas. And by the way, we're going to send you out the replay. So if you forgot to write down the 8 areas, you'll have them. And do a start, stop, and continue. Now, before we move off to the next technique, because I'm going to teach you 3 things that you could do. And if you only like to do start, stops, and continues, just do this one. If you want to do the next 2, then do them. But I want you to at least pick one thing that's going to have you really set committed results for this year. So before you leave 2018, though, and sometimes if you look back to 2018, you can say, well, what did I do in 2018 that I should have started? And I hate the shoulda, woulda, couldas, but you do need to do some assessment and evaluation and say what in 2018 worked about what you started, what you stopped, and what you continued. See, my physical environment stuff's done. Like it was big. It was a massive overhaul. So now this is on to what I'm calling my BCC, activities and development and money around those. In fact, we have half of our tax team out taking courses in cannabis and cryptocurrency because the taxation laws are going to be so drastically different. So when we say we start stuff, we stay way in front for you. So is there any questions about that? The 8 areas cannot be displayed right now, but I'm going to ask Brian or Thomas you guys can type them all in. And let's go to technique 2. So another way, and I learned this from Bob Proctor, I thought this was one of his coolest things, is pick the 1 or 2, again, top areas you're going to focus on this year. Because you can't say I'm going to do all 8, right? Because then everything kind of gets muddled down. So pick the top few areas. So say you're going to take your money and your personal development. Then what you'd say is that in those 2 categories, what are my A goals, my B goals, and my C goals? And this was in Bob's Goal Achiever program. Brilliant work. And A goals are those non-negotiables. So don't overload these. Like notice the boxes aren't too big. So, you're going to get your income up. You're going to get your investments right. You're going to get more margin. Depending on how sophisticated you are, we'll help you with a lot of those things. You're going to reduce your taxes. So don't put them all in the A category. A's are not negotiable. So these are the ones where when these happen and 2019 ends, you say, I nailed it. Now, if you get to the B, that's just extra icing on the cake. Those are like, that's damn good. Like I did it, right? These are extra goals, but they're not like the superior goals. Like I did a huge sell-off of real estate before the market turns. Huge last year. Huge, huge, huge. It was one of my A goals. Got it done. Like damn to the finish line. I think my last closing was on December 21st. So what are your goals and what's non-negotiable? That means you got to give it time. You got to give it attention. It's got to have, you in it and your coach in it on a regular basis, minimum weekly, if not daily. And then C goals are, that would just be great, right? So, don't overdo them. Maybe you put 3 or 4 things in each category, like on a scale of 1 to 10, like 10, they have to happen. 1, it's okay. So put some ABC goals. Same with your personal development or your health. And then we're going to have you write these out, send them into your strategist. Now, if you want to combine these techniques, then you're super ninja, right? So combining them would mean you're going to do goals, ABC, and then you're going to support them with start, stops, and continues. And this is exactly what I do. I teach my kids this. We just did this before Logan went back to college. I've been doing this with my kids since they were 2, 3. It's a way to help them set goals in their life, to look at last year and celebrate, acknowledge what happened or what they liked or didn't like, and then move on to the next year. So we do it in a fun, artistic way. We cut out stuff from magazines. We do it on stockings. One side is about what happened in 2018 that they liked or didn't like, and then 19, all their new goals. And obviously, because we're a by-country family, we have a lot of, family goals in there and travel goals. So again, if you want to overlap and combine them, there's a cool way to do that, right? So you list your goals and then apply the start, stop, and continue to each of the goals is another way to help assure what you got to get done. And clearly in our coaching, we will have you do this. So we're going to have you like, what do you want? And then how do we help support you to get it? Now, in 2019, you know this is from the Millionaire Maker book. This is what I call, it's our kind of landmark work we always do, which is the gap analysis. So a little different, instead of like where you are, notice on the bottom is what did you accomplish? And then what do you want? And then again, our style, our way is always focused on income and assets. Notice it doesn't have get out of debt. If that's something that's got to happen, that would be like a C for us. That would be a B or a C. It would not be an A goal. If you put on your A list, get out of debt, I will absolutely tell the strategist to scratch it and move it to a B and a C. Making money and investing money are the number one ways. You hear that? Number one ways to become a millionaire. You got to make it, invest it, make it, invest it, make it, invest it. You cannot worry about debt, and you cannot bring other people with you. And I'm speaking to you women. I always say God put me in a women's body to kind of kick you women's ass, because you're always worried about everybody else and not yourself. You have got to take this seriously. So our challenge and request for you is on the next slide. We're inviting you to make a phone call and to send in your commitment. So there is a download right now in the chat. So right there it says the commitment worksheet and the gap worksheet. So there's a commitment worksheet that takes you through the techniques we talked about, your start, stops, and continues, your A goals, B goals, C goals. You can write those out. You can do your gap analysis. If you only want to do one, do one. You don't have to do all three. And you don't have to use all three techniques, but you do have to write something down, because there's something about writing it down, not typing it, writing it down, that absolutely commits it at a different level. And if you believe in any spiritual work of that, it's writing it down. So you're going to download it in the chat. We do need to move it over here because the replay won't show the chat link. And if you want, you can start calling the team, because every one of you that registered, up to 1,200 people, will be invited to a one-on-one call. And we have staffed up. We've got 7 people ready to take phone calls, ready to book sessions. They can do them tonight. They can do them tomorrow. My request is not to do them much past the weekend. If we head into next week and the next week, then it gets more and more diluted and you're not as motivated. When you say you want to do it, let's get to it. And then notice your commitment level of your commitment. Are you a 10 or are you a 9? Like, oh, okay, I'll write it down. If it happens, it happens. So, the question I told my strats to ask you is, if you're only an 8 or a 9, what's going to make you a 10? What's going to make you say, it's not negotiable that I don't have the best life in the best year ever? So again, go to the commitments forms, open it up, and you'll be sending that through either a scan or an email to our strategist. As you call in, they'll be setting appointments for you to talk to you through how we're going to support you. Then in June, which is my birth month, not a birthday, but I believe in birth months. Your life's way too big to have a day. You got to celebrate the whole month. So in June, we're going to re-up these. So when you send them in to us, we're going to keep them in your profile, and we're going to come back to you and say, so how'd you do? How are you doing on these commitments? In January, on January 8th, you said you wanted this. And then we're going to help you evaluate. And at that point, we either need to shift what you're doing, shift how you're learning, shift your coaching program, shift your mastermind, shift how we're going to teach you how to get the result that you deserve. Not just you want, you deserve it. So commitments. Again, if you also, this is just a fun activity we continue to do to keep our group together. If you go to hashtag my 2019 commitment, then you can all continue to see each other, stay together. Ask some of the people that are on this call, say, help me hold me accountable. My number one commitment is this. And so use this as a place for you to continue to be held accountable. That's part of the whole live out loud principle, was always when you live something out loud. So if I told everybody I want to make X dollars or lose weight or get a relationship, or, one of my goals is to be off the road more this year, believe it or not. Gee, now that I said it out loud, whenever you see me out on the road, you're going to say, why are you out here? And I know you will enjoy, and I do enjoy the personal connection and touch, but I also have different agendas going on. So the more you live it out loud, the more you let people hold you accountable, which means the chances of you getting a result is critical. So I want to like more information on the 100K. So Thomas or Brian, you go ahead and put that link out. And if you want, I'm actually just going to give an email. He's probably going to kill me for doing it. Should I? No. Steve says no. No emails. Call the number and set up a session, and we're going to keep it all channeled. That way we get your commitments all in one place. All right, tax reform. Let's talk about a few more things, and I'm going to bring my crypto partners on after this. Tax reform 2018 was a game changer. 1933 was bad, and then everything's changed. It was intense. Yes, the administration, our president, is a billionaire. And when the rich get rich, the poor will get poorer. The middle class has never been around. That's just been a myth. and it's going to get bigger. So right now, if you know how to play the strategies the way we know how to do wealth building strategies around corporations, trust, insurance, and investing, the chances of you being a millionaire in 3 to 5 years is very, 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 very high. I mean, so high, it's never been higher in the history of teaching it. And because of these cool tax reforms, if you ever passed away, and the stuff we're going to teach you and how to strategize your financial legacy to your family, if you don't have a family, to the charity, is $11.2 million can go per person to who you assign of your estate. And you say, well, I don't even have $11.2 million. Well, let's make that a goal. I'm just saying that's tax-free. There are changes that would be modified again in 2019, not as significant as 18. But if you missed 2018, we do have a complete assessment. You can ask the group, again, when you call in for your strategy session and your commitment, I'm going to call it a commitment session, to talk about your goals. And I know some of you say, well, I've already had one before. I know, we're going to have another one. And this time is focused on your commitments and how we're going to help you get there. But if you missed the tax reform of 2018, then ask them for a supplemental tax review. And we'll get you out to the tax team, and we will show you how critical it is to manage your taxes. I mean, the couple I was telling you about that works in the military and United Airlines, they went from about a 52% tax bracket. I think the first year we helped them, they were down in the 12, 13%, I believe. And this year they'll be in single digits. So when I'm talking money, I'm talking a lot of money. I mean, that's over 6 figures to just one group. So that I put this up here because it's a request you can make of your strategist that you want that tax review, and how we can help you get that. And to that same note, if you've not done your corporate minutes, you are out of compliance. So you've got to go through a corporate minute compliance as well. And we have an extraordinary team. I went through all that last year. When I say we had an overhaul last year, we dotted every I, crossed every T, and reset for an enormous growth phase. So we're excited. I'm excited. I share it candidly with you. It's exciting times. All right, a year from now, you're going to wish you started today, because some of you could be millionaires tomorrow. Like in a year from now, some of you could be a millionaire. We're going to do a touch base right in between and get you moving. Now, we're at the top of the hour, but I'm going to bring on some new partners. So David Werba's with me, and is David and Walt both out there?
I am here. Hello.
I am here too.
Hi, Walt and David. How are you?
Excellent.
Great. How are you?
Super excited to have you. So first of all, welcome to our integrated wealth community. It's kind of different saying that. I'm just saying Live Out Loud community, but it's all merging and no one's been left behind. Talk a little bit. I know, David, especially you were on the front end of some of the initial coin buying 10 years ago. And I don't say that to date the history of it, because what we're going to share with you is the time is right now. Now, if we did this call in 2, 3, 4 years, I would say you're going to be way behind. So, David, why don't you start to introduce yourself? Walt, introduce yourself. I do have to do a shout out to Eric Carlin, who brought these guys to us. And Eric will be a big part of this team in reaching out to those of you specifically in the big table about different opportunities. So why don't you guys introduce who you are and how you got here? Because, boy, you guys design coins from scratch.
Yeah, I started, about 2013, 2014, I started dabbling in the cryptocurrency space. I had heard of it, a couple years before. It was starting to creep into major media a little bit, and started doing a little trading. And the following year, I really started digging into the blockchain, which is the technology underneath cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is built on top of it. Every crypto has its own blockchain, or it's built on an existing one. So around 2016, I started transitioning my businesses into the blockchain space, and I joined this project called Music Coin, which was attempting to build a music streaming platform by forking the Ethereum blockchain. And we were the first to successfully do that. And it's still running today. It's one of, if not the largest streaming platform on the blockchain. And it utilizes a smart contract system where every time your song is played, you earn cryptocurrency every single stream. So it's an excellent reference point to a lot of other industries. But that really got me going. And in the past 3 years, every part of all my businesses is involved in the blockchain and tokens and cryptocurrency, because the rabbit hole is deep. And like I told you, Loral, it's hard to go back once you learn this stuff. And one more thing is, during that time, I also met Walt, and we started building, basically tokenizing the business that he founded, which is Talent Joe Enterprises. And I'll let him say a few words on that, Walt.
Yeah, thanks, David. So yeah, I dibbled and dabbled in cryptocurrency too. I was trading about 4 or 5 years ago, was on several platforms, and really didn't know a whole lot about the blockchain. Had a project that I had started without crypto. And the more I learned, the more excited I got. This whole crypto world is kind of like we were talking today. Imagine back when you had the first cell phone and how ugly that looked and how big it looked. And you compare it to what today's phones are. And that's what this whole crypto revolution is. It's in that stage right now, and it's about to blossom into this wonderful industry that's bigger than anything you've ever seen in your lifetime, bigger than any revolution of, the industry generation, and technology is just pouring into blockchain and opening up so many opportunities. So I am a founder of a company, and I looked at my own company and looked at the blockchain and what the technology could do, and we pivoted. And I have a coin that I've been working with David and Loral with, and it's really taking off. It's a talent token in the entertainment industry, and we have just blossomed with this whole way of building corporations now. In fact, every corporation that's out there now is moving towards blockchain, including IBM, Amazon, Overstock.com has their own coin. Everybody's moving towards it.
Thanks for listening to the Real Money Talks podcast. Your host has been Loral Langmeyer, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View. Want to learn more about off-Wall Street investing, tax strategies, and multi-million-dollar business strategies? Visit liveoutloud.com/podcast for past episodes, show notes, and resources. For some special wealth-building gifts only for Loral's podcast listeners, visit liveoutloud.com/podcast gifts. Do you have a burning question for Loral? Visit askloral.com to submit your question, and it may just be covered on a podcast episode. So stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to get new episodes every week.